Good morning, YouTube family. How are you guys doing? Thanks for checking in. This is the WestCreek Cerberus 2. Really interesting looking guitar. Reverse headstock. Nice rosewood fretboard. It's a little dry. It's going to need to be conditioned. Super light. A couple of refinements that I've noticed right off the bat. As opposed to having the tailpiece and the two-pneumatic bridge, they have the bridge and the strings go through the body on this one. And they changed the jack plate. The jack plate is on an angle. It's all routed inside here, right? So it's pretty cool. The versions I reviewed had the jack plate going in straight. So if you used like a straight jack, it was, was sticking out this way. Whereas this one, it'll be coming up and in. So I guess it didn't really matter. Like with the other style, you just use a right angle jack and it would be pointing down, right? And this one, if you use a right angle jack, it'll be sticking out again. So you're probably going to want to use a straight jack. I haven't met this customer, so the person who sent the guitar is not the one who's going to be playing it. So I'm just setting it up for someone I don't know. This little word will get you 90% of the way there in setting up a guitar. Train. T-R-A-I-N. Now, special shout out to one of my subscribers and one of my buddies, the Perennial Gadgeteer. He's the one who kind of pointed this out to me. Now, I would do this just out of common sense, but I'd never heard of this acronym before. And he was chatting on a video and I was replying and he said, yeah, like you just use the train method. And I'm like, that's genius. So here's what the acronym means. Train. So T, tuning, R, relief, A, action, I, intonation, and N is nut. And once I do this, I usually take the strings off, clean up the guitar, do anything, address any high frets that I find at that point, and then reassemble and then go through this again, just to set the guitar up. That's the big secret, right? Train. Luthier or no luthier, if you follow that, you can pretty much get 90% of the way to setting up your own guitar. First thing, plug it in, get a feel for the jack. Feels good, nice and solid. First thing you check, does it work? Do we have signal? So tuner off. There we go. Okay, so bridge pickup. It's not tuned, obviously, right? Middle pickup. Neck. Volume works. Nothing scratchy there. Switch works. And tone works fine. Okay, no, there's no issues there. So let's hop on the train. Tuning. As you're tuning your guitar, you get to feel each tuner and see if there's any slop in it, see if it's like super tight or really loose. Then you get relayed another piece of information that you may or may not have to address. Not just bringing the strings to pitch. So far, I'm not feeling anything out of the ordinary. So then, give the strings a stretch. And also, as you're tuning, if there's a problem with the nut, you will notice it immediately because you'll hear some pinging noises as you're tuning. The string gets pulled through the nut and you'll hear it like catching and releasing, catching and releasing. That's another indication there, when you're on the train of tuning. So acoustically. No problem with strings not ringing out. None of the strings are buzzing, open string, so that means they're anchored properly down here, and they're not floating in the nut over here. Tuning, done. Let's just go through the pickups, see if there's one that's a lot weaker than the other. That'll give us an indication of whether or not we have to adjust them, in final setup, and it'll also tell us if this guitar holds tune. We'll do some bends and stuff and see how that works. Neck pickup. There's not a big difference between the neck pickup, volume-wise, and bridge. About the same. So right out of the box, these pickups are adjusted, you know, fairly similar heights to the string, so I don't think I would really change anything there. Throw some drive on there and see what we get. So the overdrive will tell you if you have microphonic pickups or anything, because they'll start to howl like crazy. Tuning. It tunes up, seems to hold tune pretty good. It's a little pitchy, but these, you know, these strings that these come with are just fair. I'll put a new set on. Relief. Take your capo. First fret. Take your finger where the body meets the neck, somewhere in there. Okay? You can go to the last fret if you want, whatever, but just, right? So what you're doing there is you're taking the bridge out of the equation and you're taking the nut out of the equation. You are basically creating a straight edge with the string. So now just look at how this string is running on top of your fretboard. There is a tiny bit of relief. And you can see some movement there. See that E string going up and down, making contact with the fret, releasing. All right, so that tells me that there is relief in this neck. You do need some relief, but it just depends on the fretwork. Some people use gauges and all this stuff, and you know what? I've just try it. I know what I like. Now you guys have to find what works for you, but this is just, you know, what I do. So relief, it's all good. Action. I like to test this stuff in playing position. I have a little D'Addario fret gauge. Starts at 0.01 and goes all the way up to 0.14. I like my string height at the 12th fret right around 0.05 to 0.06. So low E string. Here we have 0.06. And the high E string, we have 0.05. Now, if I tweak the truss rod a little bit, if I put my Allen wrench in there and I bring the neck back this way, right? If I tighten the neck, take some relief out of it, that action is going to go down. We're going to put the wrench in there, make sure it seats properly. Going to give this a tweak to the right. And then we'll double check the relief again and see if we have any. See, that's all it took. See that? Very little string movement. There's a little bit, but not very much. And double check the action again. See? Just that little movement switched from 0.06 to 0.05 on the big E string. and 0.05 to 0.04 on the small one. If you're dealing with unlevel frets, when you make those micro adjustments, that can make the difference between a guitar playing well and fretting out. Now the tuning is off because we changed the neck position. So I'm just going to retune. Let's check. No problem there. Oh, see, that's just me playing. That's just my playing position is not what I'm accustomed to. Oh, look, got one there. All right. No problem up there. You have 2 frets left. One questionable spot, right around the 16th or 17th fret. That's it. The I part of train is intonation. You need a small, flat, tipped screwdriver. And I know some of you are saying, well, if you're going to change the strings on this, you shouldn't intonate because new strings are going to change your intonation. Yeah, possibly. But intonation is string length from the nut to the bridge. So a new set of strings is not going to change your string length. It will change string tension, string vibration, maybe depending on the type of string, but it will not change the string length. So for the most part, you are going to be pretty accurate with your new set of strings. It's a good starting point. I use an old Boss TU12H tuner. It gives me 2 visuals. It gives me the needle and it gives me the light. Make sure your volumes are full. So we're going to tune this to pitch. So open string and then fret the 12. All right, you see how it's coming down there? So the 12th fret, fretted note, is flat. So that means the string needs to be shortened. The string length needs to be shortened. So then I'll take the guitar and you're going to be turning clockwise. So I'm going to be turning towards me. Right? So I'm going to give it like 1 full turn just to see. And then double check that again. So normally when you shorten the string, it changes the pitch a bit. So you just want to double check. And then I'm going to fret that 12th fret again. And look at that. Perfect. It's the same for all the rest. So I'm not going to make you sit through all this. Now, some strings, they just won't intonate. Like they're old, they've been stretched, and you'll have a lot of trouble. Just get it close and don't worry about it being perfect. And then when you put your new strings on, you'll see that they'll dial right in. So intonation's all good. You know, notice the stagger on these saddles. Plus, on this guitar, right, the bridge is tilted this way, right? So it's lower on the bass string side than on the treble side. So yeah, they dialed this in. However, the D string I had to max out. Like it's right to the end. Any further, I would have had to, if I needed more, I would have to take the saddle out and turn it around to get the knife edge pointing the other way. We may have to tweak this with new strings. They may have to move back or they may have to move forward slightly, but I know the intonation is on, so we're all good. So the last part of train is, of course, the N, and that's nut. Fret the 3rd fret right here, and then go to your 1st fret and see if that string moves. It's moving ever so slightly. Can you see that? Right? There's like barely any movement there. That's perfect. Some guys will say when you fret the 3rd fret, you want that string touching your first fret. But if you change gauges and stuff, you might have a problem with that, right? If I pluck this hard, you hear that? That's vibrating against that first fret. So now nobody would play like that, obviously. But it just goes to show, like, the closer that string is to the first fret, the more chances you're going to have of open string buzzing. So I find, for me, and my playing style and my string gauge, which is usually 10 to 46, if I fret the third fret and I have a little bit of movement at the first fret, it's perfect. If you have a lot of movement at the first fret, when you release that third fret, the string comes up quite a bit, you're going to have way too much space between the string and the first fret. And then when you're chording, you're having this effect. I see this a lot on acoustic guitars, and people are like, oh, it hurts the fingers so much. Well, I wonder why, right? So just a basic nut adjustment. With the strings off, I can see that this bridge has quite a bit of play in it. Okay, so I'm going to take the bridge off, check these posts, and these posts are fairly loose. I'll show you how to fix that easily. So we have some loose posts. Very common with this type of setup. The easiest fix is, there you go, plumber's tape. So just put some on the thread. Like so. And you only want to go like, I don't know, 2/3 of the way up. That's it. Reinstall. So, before, right? After. Nothing. Super solid. Now when we install this bridge, look at that. There's like no vibrations whatsoever. Check these frets. We have one high fret. We have two high spots over here. We have one high middle at the 15. And then we have one high end at the 19. That happens on the best of them. There we go. Ready for reassembly. All right. So the WestCreek CB2 is all restrung. I went through the train again just to make sure everything was dialed in and no major issues. So this thing is ready to go. Now, whether or not this customer will like it, I have no idea. I'm not a fan of these headstocks. I don't like these hockey blade style headstocks. The ones that are reversed or the ones that have the tuners on the other side. I don't like how the strings come out through the nut and they go like they fan out. They don't come into the nut straight, and I think it's a cool look, but functionality wise, I would redesign this headstock with 3 and 3 or 4 and 2. I feel it's an extra friction point that, you know, doesn't really have to be there for the sake of something that looks cool. I like the string through body. I like this single bridge. It's clear. The weight is fantastic. They don't neck tie at all. They just stay. They feel good. The way this angle is up here, your forearm can just kind of rest on it. So here are the cleans. Bridge pickup. Real position. Good. Neck position. Some mild overdrive. Oh, that mild overdrive is pretty heavy with this guitar. Position. Neck position. Let's try the higher gain style. WestCreek CB2 Flying V Green Flame guitar. Awesome. That's it for me. I hope the customer likes it. You guys take care. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one.